Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been really well since we last saw each other. Today I'm going to be doing a video that's a little bit different to my other videos. I'm just going to be talking to you guys just like this. I'm going to try not to do much editing. I just want to kind of speak about this issue which has recently come up in my life, and if you follow me on Instagram you may have seen me talk about it very briefly. I haven't touched on it, and I didn't want to talk about it until I had kind of gone through what I needed to go through and gotten to the other side and could talk to you about it with some knowledge and background into it. But basically, I think I'm going to talk to you about my symptoms, then my diagnosis, and then my surgery, and then what it means from now on for me. So basically, if you have seen and if you were following me on Instagram, I mentioned about a week ago that I found out that I had endometriosis, and I'd gone into hospital, and that's why I wasn't going to be training or very active for the following 2 weeks on social media. But endometriosis is something that I had no idea about up until it's come and directly affected my life. I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know what it was. I guess I didn't really have much of a reason to ever really look too deeply into it. But I just thought from right now, I might just tell you guys from the internet, just a brief, quick definition of endometriosis so that we can kind of all get on the same page. And for this video, I can only talk from what happened with me. I can only talk about how my body felt, and I can only talk about the information that was given to me. I think every single case and every single person is going to be so different. So yeah, from that, just know that I'm not putting a blanket over this condition. I think 1 in 10 women suffer from endometriosis at some point in their life, whether they know it or not. Anyway, so I'll just give you a quick little rundown on what it is. It says, endometriosis is a condition resulting from the appearance of endometrial tissue outside of the uterus and causing pelvic pain, especially associated with menstruation. So basically, when we go through our periods as women, the endometrial tissue builds up within our uterus, and it's that tissue that's appearing on the outside of the uterus where it's not supposed to be. That's when it's endometriosis. So you might have lumps of tissue growing on your ovaries, you might have lumps of tissue growing on the outside of your uterus, it can attach onto your bowels, it can attach pretty much any area into the pelvis there. So I think from now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my symptoms and what led me to going to get checked, and why I think I've had it for a really long time but never really knew exactly what it was. So about 8 years ago, I started having this really intense pain all through my pelvis, and it would happen. I ended up diagnosing myself online because I couldn't figure out what else it was. I thought that I had compartment syndrome because I was training a girl and she had compartment syndrome in her calves, and she would get this most intense pain in her calves whenever she would start training. And this was the kind of pain that I was getting when I would raise my heart rate really quickly. So if I was going to do something like hill sprints, or if I was going to do something really high intensity, I would just be like doubled over on the ground until my heart rate would come back down. And I couldn't explain this pain, and I couldn't understand what else it could be because it was so intense. And this happened to me for so long, like up until now pretty much. So it's been like 8 years, and it was on and off and on and off. You know, sometimes it would be really good and I could train, but sometimes it would just be like so fucking sore. I'd just be kind of like on the ground. And I have a really good pain threshold, you know. I love training hard and I love feeling the burn, but this was different. It was like this intense pressure, like the worst period pain you'd ever felt, and it would double me over and I'd just be on the ground and out. Anyway, so that used to happen to me for a long time. I thought I had compartment syndrome. I think I even went to a doctor at one point, and just nothing really came of it. My pap smears and everything were normal. There was nothing to suggest anything else, and I just didn't know of what else it could be. Anyway, so fast forward a little while until the last, say, 2 months. So I had my surgery last week, and about 2 months before that, I was training at the gym, and I was about 10 minutes into a session, and what I'd just spoken about, that really bad pain that would cripple me over, I got that times about 10. And I was at the gym by myself, and I went onto the floor and just somehow got myself to the toilet, and I was sitting in the toilet cubicle in so much fucking pain. I couldn't believe it. And I was about to call Zave, my husband, because I just didn't think that I'd be able to drive myself home. It was just so intense. And yeah, so it passed eventually, and I got myself home, and I was just crying in the car. Not much will make me cry, but it was so intense. And then the second thing which happened only like a week or two after that is, there's going to be some details in this, so let's just get used to that, is I was on the toilet doing a number 2, and it was just like the same thing, this excruciating pain in my pelvis, in kind of where you get your period pain, and I was just doubled over, and it would just really, oh, it was so bad. I was like, what is wrong with me? My sister was actually here with me, and she's a doctor, and I told her, and she was like, there's something wrong, you really need to go get this checked out. So there was those 2 recent really chronic, I would say, episodes, and then I've had, you know, quite a long history of pelvic pain, and then in between that, you know, I have pain, little aches and pains here or there. I kind of just passed off as being normal, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm just a woman, or I'm around my period, or you know, I get pains going to the toilet, sometimes during sex, sometimes just randomly, and yeah, I just didn't know what was going on. So after that, my sister told me, you need to go get checked out. I went to the doctor, my local GP, and she listened to me. My most recent pap smear was normal, so she listened to me, and then she said, you need to go and get a pelvic scan. So I went and got a scan and took it back to her, and up until that point in my life, like, everything, I had never had anything wrong. I was really healthy, and I'm so lucky, I guess, that I've never really had to deal with any kind of health scares. And I was sitting in the doctor's surgery, and she said to me, I was sitting there thinking, oh, it's going to be nothing, they're going to find nothing again. And she said to me, you've got a lump, a 5-centimeter lump, like kind of the size of a golf ball, growing on your left ovary. And I was like so scared, because my heart just sank. You know, that it was so crazy to think that something was actually wrong. I was expecting nothing, and for something to actually come back, it just felt really, really kind of surreal to me. Anyway, and so she told me that, and I had a few tears just because it was just a bit of a shock. And she told me, okay, let's book you into a gynecologist, so you can get further testing and see what's happening. So I did that. I booked into the gynecologist, and she kind of, the doctor had 2 ideas of what it could be. She thought it could likely be endometriosis, or it could be cysts. And so I booked in to the gynecologist. I went and saw her. She had a look at my scans, and she was pretty adamant, she was pretty confident that it was endometriosis. And from that point, she gave me a few options. So the options that she gave me was that I could go on the pill, and I could, apparently the pill can kind of help symptoms and alleviate symptoms a little bit of endometriosis. Option B was that I could leave it for a little while and then go back and get some more scans, and then wait a few months and see how it's going, if it's grown, if it's disappeared, whatnot. And then the third option was to go and have a surgery, and the actual surgery was the only way that you can properly diagnose what's going on inside you. So I didn't want to go on the pill, because for me personally, I've had weird experiences with messing with my hormones. That can be a whole nother video, with with using the rod in my arm, and I haven't been on the pill for about 10 years. I just didn't like it. It doesn't suit me, so that wasn't going to happen. Option number 2, I didn't want to wait. It was just freaking me out that there was something inside me, and I just needed to know what it was and just figure it out. So I said, okay, cool, I want to have option number 3, which is I want to have a surgery. I want this to be figured out, and if it is endometriosis, I want it out. I'm freaked out by the thought of there being a lump, you know, like that big in there sitting on my ovary. So anyway, so that's what I decided for me personally at that point. And also, you know, we travel a lot and I move around a lot, and I didn't want for these episodes to be happening overseas. You know, I just was like, I want this out, I want this gone, I want to move on. And so I chose for the surgery. So I booked in my surgery, which happened last week, and basically it's called a laparoscopy. So they put a telescope into my stomach cavity through my belly button, and then from there she could see everything, what was going on. And what happened was, when she went into my stomach, she did see that there was a lot of endometriosis, and they made 3 other incisions to put in their tools, I guess, to kind of shave the endometriosis off my ovaries, off my uterus. And after coming out of surgery, I ended up staying in an extra night because she said that it was a lot worse than what the scans had shown. So I had actually a lot more endometriosis in my pelvis, and she was really surprised. She was like, I don't understand how you didn't have a lot more pain than you were having. So I'm glad I didn't have the pain, but I was really surprised, and we were both surprised that the scans hadn't shown all of the extra endometriosis. So basically it was covering like my bowels. So she shaved as much as she could off there. She did have to leave some because she said any more and you risk like kind of putting a hole in your bowel. So yeah, so I had the surgery and it all went well. I actually have my follow-up consultation, which is a week later. I have that tomorrow, so I'm going to jump back on here and finish off this vlog once I've gotten all the information, in case there's nothing, in case there's something that I've missed. But yeah, I had the surgery. It ended up being a lot bigger, so I stayed in hospital overnight. And I was just so sleepy, and the next day so sleepy. I came home, I slept pretty much all day. The following day I stopped taking any painkillers because I was feeling shit. I just was so drowsy and I felt nauseous, and so I was kind of fine. And so I just have been laying on the couch pretty much. I haven't done any exercise obviously, and I'm just taking it really easy for this week and next week. But yeah, I've just got 2 little scars. I have filmed where my incisions were, so I'll slot this in now. So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to go back and see
so these were the 4 incisions, 2 down low, 1 in my belly button and 1 just next to it. This is about 3 days post-operation
from here. You know, obviously there's a good chance that it will come back at some point, and the specialist wanted to talk to me about where I would go from here, my best chances of how to get pregnant and when that would be. So I'm going to come back and give you guys that information once I've gotten it, because I don't want to say anything. I was pretty out of it when I spoke to her the day after, the next morning of my surgery. She told me a few things, but I was just so, I guess, drugged up. I don't really remember much. So I'm going to come back and update you guys on that. Hey guys, so I've just gotten back from seeing the specialist today, which was my 1 week post surgery appointment, and basically she just went through some of the photos, so the before and afters of where she'd cut out the endometriosis, and we had a little talk about what we do from here. So yeah, she was shocked at how much there was there, and she said to me, yes, you have had this for a very long time. So as I did mention, okay, I'm gonna try and get the right terminology. I think it was my cervix. There's meant to be like a gap behind your cervix and your bowels, and that was completely bound. So it was kind of pulling up at my bowels, and same thing all around. I think the right hand side, everything was kind of bound completely, and so there was a lot that went on in there. So where to from here? I was suggested to go on the pill. So the reason the pill is suggested is because during our cycles, our monthly cycles, you know, our estrogen goes up and the progesterone kind of evens that out, and it's the estrogen and that cycle that builds those tissues within the uterus, and also obviously has an impact on the tissues that are not meant to be there on the outside of the uterus. And what going on the pill can do is even that out and kind of prolong it coming back. Once you have endometriosis, you have it forever, is what she told me, and so I'm more than likely to have to go in for another surgery, and you just never really know when. She told me just to look out for more pain, symptoms to kind of start coming back, and then if they do, then we kind of go from there. But I also, while she was in there, they tested if my fallopian tubes were open, and they were, so fertility wise I look okay. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things, I think, while you're young, before you've gone through menopause and you do have those hormones constantly fluxing, it will be something that will always be with me, and I'll just have to kind of keep an eye on and hope that it doesn't come back for a while anyway. What else did we talk about? So yeah, I guess to wrap this vlog up, and the reason that I wanted to make this video was because I was showing these symptoms for a very, very, very long time, and I didn't know what it was, and I kind of just passed off this pain and discomfort for I just thought it was normal, and I thought it was just part of being a woman, or, you know, I don't know. So what I just want maybe people who don't have it to get out of this is just to get checked. Like, I was just really naive, and I feel like we don't get told any of this stuff as we're growing up, or what to look out for. So I just kind of wanted to get my story out there, because maybe there are people out there getting that same pain, and if you are, then, you know, maybe it's a good sign to go and see a doctor about it. But yeah, I'm all good. This is totally something that not normal, but a lot of people live with and a lot of people manage. But yeah, it's been interesting and eye-opening, and I hope that this video has helped you in some way, and I hope that yeah, you've gotten something out of it. So thank you for listening, and thank you for hanging out. I'd love to talk in the comments, or I'd love to hear your feedback on if you've had surgery and how you're feeling now, and maybe years later, if it's come back, if it hasn't come back, if you went on the pill. I'd love to kind of start that conversation and kind of open that up. So feel free, if you don't want to do it publicly, you can send me an email or a message, and I'd just love to have a chat about it, because obviously it's new for me, and yeah, I want to find out how other people are doing a bit further down the track too. So sending you guys so much love wherever you are in the world, and thank you so much for watching this video and for being here, and for so many beautiful messages and comments on Instagram. And I feel so lucky to have such a beautiful kind of group of people around me, such as you guys, so thank you, and I will see you in the next video.